ask me? Okay, so we will take some more questions today, right, of simple programming. So currently the type of programming which we are doing is simple sequential programming. Simple sequential programming. Sequential programming means what? This is a type of programming paradigm where all the statements, they are executed in sequence, that is in order. Okay, so there is a we have line 1, line 2, line 3, so all the statements are executed in sequence. Usually we have three types of programming, three types of such programming. That is, one is sequential programming, sequence. Second is selection, and third is iteration. You have to remember these three. Now, sequence is what? The same, the simple sequential programming which we are going to see now, where just we have your program needs to take some input, do some processing, display the output. Method is very straightforward, right? Selection means you will think if, simple if else, which is your cascading if else ladder, nested if. Please remember these things. This is very, very important because selection means decision making. Here we are going to take decisions. And we have iteration, while, and there is for collection. This is one variant of for, and second is for range. Range function with for. So these are very important, students. Please, whenever you are preparing anything, keep these three things in mind. Okay, ये तीनों चीजें आपकी बिल्कुल clear होनी चाहिए, so that you can handle strings, lists, tuples, and dictionaries. Right? The four important type of data structures which we are going to study during the whole course of class 11th. Okay, so we are beginning with sequential programming. Once we master this sequential programming, we will move on to selection. And students, you need to take these three seriously. अगर ये तीनों चीजें आपकी अभी क्लियर नहीं होती हैं, तो आगे चल के कोई भी टॉपिक आप क्लियर नहीं कर पाओगे. So the golden rule is, when it is being taught, take it seriously, and you have to practice it. Practice as many questions as you can based on these, right? So we are going to start with simple sequential programming. The very first program which I am going to give you today is write a program in Python to accept principal amount, rate of interest, and time period, and print the simple interest. Formula will be given to you as hint. Simple interest is, so I'm going to give you the simple interest here.
PRT upon 100.
Yes, it's simple. That is P into, so I'm just writing it in the simple mathematical form. P into R into T upon 100. So here it is upon 100. But how do we represent it in the form of Python? We will be writing P into R into T divided by 100. Now take a look at this. P into R into T. Students, in the chapter data handling, when you will study about your operator precedence, okay, that is priority of operators. Usually also, according to Bodmer's rule, you know that this multiplication and division, they both have the same priority. They both lie at the same level of precedence. But over here, how now we can see that there are two multiplication operators and one division operator, right? So we will start evaluating this expression from the left side, from left to right. So left से लेकर right तक जब हम चलते हैं, तो सबसे पहला जो operator आता है वो क्या है? The very first operator which we get is multiplication. So the first step will be P into R. Next, again, when we move towards the right, we find another multiplication. So the product of P and R will be multiplied with T. Got it? So you got P into R into T. Now you have to divide it by 100. So when you move towards the right, you get this division operator. So then this product is divided by 100 and you get your answer. But had it been something like this, Heron's formula to calculate the area of a triangle, had it been this. So what you calculate there, you first calculate the semi-perimeter, which is A plus B plus C divided by 2. So here if you write A plus B plus C divided by 2, let me explain what type of an answer this is going to give you. First, now you can see there are plus, that is addition is there and division is there. So here what is going to happen now, according to BODMAS, you can see BOD, that is division, comes first, and mass, that is A, addition, comes after division, right? That means the priority of division is higher than the priority of addition. So first of all, it is going to do this. It's going to add up, it's going to divide C by 2, and then only it is going to add this quotient, whatever quotient we get over here, it will add it up to A and B. So the answer is what? We will get some unexpected answer. And the result, the output will not be according to our requirement. So what we are supposed to do is we need to prioritize this by using a bracket. So again, BODMAS rule, bracket comes first. So first we will solve the bracket and then divide the result by 2. So you have to check every time in an expression, whenever you are creating an expression, you have to check whether you have to compare the priority of operators there. Which operator will be evaluated first? Okay. Although we will be studying about operator precedence, but you have to keep the simple mathematical BODMAS rule in mind, and you have to accordingly use brackets when required. Okay. You can use bracket here also, not a problem. It's not an issue, but here it won't offer difference because already multiplication and division are at the same level of precedence, so it will follow left to right associativity. But here there is a difference because division comes first. So first of all, C will be divided by 2. Hence, in order to avoid the interpreter doing that kind of a mistake, we have to first enclose A plus B plus C within brackets. That is simple parenthesis, simple round brackets, and divide it by 2. Got it? Please remember this thing. Got it? So now we are going to write a simple program. Now here I have used a term accept principal amount. So far that day what we had seen was to assign two values, right? So let me open a program here and I'm going to save it. So I've opened a new script window using Control N. So I'm going to go to my programs folder over here, or sorry, to D drive, my Python programs, and here I'm going to type the name of the program. Now, because it is a simple interest program, so I'm just typing simple interest demo.py. I've just named this as simple interest demo.py. Right now, first of all, I need to assign the principal amount. So first I will do it with this, that is assigning the principal rate and time. So P comma R comma T equals, I'm taking any value over here. Rate of interest I'm taking as 9.2 and T I'm taking as 4. So you can understand what is the data type of this 2000, 20,000. The data type is
Integer.
integer because there is no decimal.
Integers.
Second 9.2
And float.
float and 4
Integer.
integer. Very good.
Integer.
This way you should understand the difference between the different data types. So here 20,000 will be assigned to P, 9.2 will be assigned to R, and 4 will be assigned to T. So we can, this kind of an assignment is only possible in Python, not in any other programming language, right? Okay. Now, simple interest, I'm simply taking SI as a variable. Simple, you can either take it, see, there are numerous ways in which you can name this identifier, int, or you can write simple underscore interest also, or you can use camel case also. Okay, or simply right now I am using SI. Got it? So always name your variables according to the type of data they are going to. Now P into R into T divided by 100. तीन स्टेटमेंट्स में आपका प्रोग्राम बन गया. इसको हम एक स्टेटमेंट भी बना सकते हैं. We'll see it. The simple interest is what? SI. Got it? Control. Here you are simply getting an answer. But what if I want to read data from the user? I want that every time the user executes the program, your program should wait for the user to enter some data. That is, now your program is going to fetch data from the user or accept data from the user, okay, which is known as input, right? So here I'm going to provide some input. I'm going to close this whiteboard. Have my graphic tablet today. Just a sec. Okay. So we are going to learn a function that is input function. Watch very carefully. Okay. Now this input function, how does it work? First of all, I'm going to write its syntax. Syntax means not the syntax pani ki tanki. Okay. It is the structure of a particular statement or a construct which you are going to use in Python or any programming language. Okay. This syntax specifies the rule for using that construct. So here, how to use input variable equals input prompt. How we use it? Let me give an example here. Suppose in the previous program we need to input what principal from the user. So we will write P equals input, enter the principal amount. Got it? You can either enclose this prompt within double quotes or single quotes. This whole thing I am copying here and I'm just using single quotes over here. It's up to you whether you want to use double quotes or single quotes, because in Python both are valid. Okay. Most programming languages don't provide you this flexibility, but Python provides you that, right? So now you have input statement, but now you can see I have used here input, but whatever, sorry, whatever the input function fetches from the user, it converts it into string and assigns it to variable. Means whatever principal amount, like you gave 20,000, so that 20,000 will be recognized as a string, that is like this, on which you will not be able to perform any calculations. Okay, because it is a string. But what do we want? We want a numeric, that is an integer value 20,000. So how to solve that problem? So for solving that problem, you are going to use the input statement in this way. P equals int, enter the principal amount. And two brackets. You have opened two brackets, you will close two brackets, right? This int is a function. So this int is a built-in function. Function is a small sub-program. Function is a sub-program. Sub-program means it is a complete program in itself which performs a definite task. It performs a definite task but is a part of a larger program. Right. So function is what? It performs a definite task, but it is a part of a larger program. It's a small program which performs something, which might give us some result. Okay. Just a second. Sorry for the interruption, students. So it is a part of a larger program, right? So here, this int is a function. It's a built-in function. You don't need to worry about the underlying program for this int. Okay, you just have to use this int function in your program. So what does this int function do? It converts any string object into integer object. In Python, you consider every data value as an object. So whatever is inside int, like for example, if I write here 20 and 20 is a string. So this will be converted into numeric 20. Got it? Let's see an example for this on the Python shell. So over here, suppose I have a value like I am writing int 20. It returns the numeric 20. So if I write like this, int 20 plus 5, it will give you 25. But if you write 20 plus 5, it will give you an error, can only concatenate string, not integer to string. For now, adding two strings it means concatenation. Okay, that is a term which is used to join two strings. Like if I write here 20 plus 5, where both 20 and 5 are strings, it will give you 205 because it only joins the two strings 2, 0 and 5. दोनों को इसने क्या कर दिया? Join कर दिया, right? But if you really want to perform an arithmetic operation, concatenation is not an arithmetic operation. It is an operation which you perform on alphanumeric characters. Okay. But if you want to perform an arithmetic operation, you have to convert both of them into integer or float, whichever is. Now it is performing the arithmetic operation, that is 20 plus 5, that is 20. Understood the difference between the numeric value of a string and the alphanumeric value, even if it contains digits, right? It is included within quotes means it becomes a string. So whenever you write, like if in my program, over here, I'll show you the difference. So I'm going to remove these statements and I'm going to simply write input, enter. I'm not using the int function right now. Enter principal amount. Next is rate. Input, enter rate of interest. Time, t equals input, enter time period. Okay, and now I give my value according to my own assumptions. Okay, and see it gave you an error. Can't multiply sequence by non-integer of type string. So here, what we are doing is we are trying to multiply all these p into r into t. We are trying to multiply these three. But this multiplication operation is only possible between what? Numeric values, not string values, because currently these values are what? They are strings. You can see I just pressed P, I typed P and it is displayed in quotes, means it is a string value. R is a string value, T is a string value. So I need to convert these values. So for principal, now usually nobody will ask for a loan of 20,000 rupees and 50 paise. ऐसे कोई loan तो मांगेगा नहीं. So simply we can consider this as integer. Yes, rate of interest is in points, 9.2%, 12.3%, 12.5%, okay, 6.6%. So here we need to use another function known as float. What does float do? Convert the string, the digits expressed as string into floating point value, that is real numbers, numbers with a decimal point. And t will also be like considered in whole years, so we are going to take them as integers only. Save this, and now we are going to run the program. Guys, please keep your eyes at the last line over here, okay? 9.2, time period 6 years, and we are getting the simple interest of 11,040 rupees. You understand this? Now this is one execution. I want to execute the program once again and see what result it gives me for some other value, right? So again, for that, for running the program again, students, remember, you have to again go back to your program. That is your script window. Then press F5 on your keyboard. And now again, it gives you this output. So right now it is waiting for an input. जब तक आप input नहीं दोगे, तब तक ये आगे नहीं बढ़ेगा. Got it? Did I start recording? Yes, I had started it. None of you reminded. I started on my own. Okay, so I'm giving 1,20,000 as the principal amount, rate of interest 12.5%, time period 5 years, and I get a simple interest of 75,000 rupees. Wow. Okay, so this is what I get a different result for different sets of input values now, right? So this is how you write a simple sequential program in Python. And you can also evade this line. Instead of SI, I can simply write here P into R into T divided by 100. So you were able to even reduce one more line of code. Again, we give some other value, 6.5, and I get this simple interest over here, right? So this is this was a simple interest program. Was it clear to everybody? So I am giving you the simple interest program through the chat window. Kindly note it down. Yes, Rohit.
Ma'am, in your program you have written R is equals to float. So ma'am, what is the meaning of float, ma'am, in the coding?
Float means, see, I had already explained it the other day. The meaning of float is floating point value. Okay. See, I had already explained this in detail. It will be a repetition, doesn't matter. We say float, right? That actually stands for floating point number. Floating point number means you all have studied scientific notation, right? So when I write any number like 678.34, this number I can represent like this: 6.7834 into 10 raised to the power. Now I don't have my graphic tablet here, or I would have written raised to the power using superscript. Okay, so I'm using this caret symbol, which represents raised to the power. So raised to the power 2. Why? Because I shifted this point to 2 places over here towards the left side, right? And in case I have a number like this, and I want to represent it in the scientific notation. So I will write 6.78 into 10 raised to the power. I shifted this point 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 places towards the right side. So 10 raised to the power minus 4. So here I shifted this point to 4 places towards the right hand side. So because this point keeps on floating, just imagine that this point is floating on the top of or the surface of the ocean or the water. तो कभी यहाँ से उठ के यहाँ आ जाता है, कभी यहाँ से उठ के यहाँ आ जाता है. So this point is what? It's not fixed. It is floating at any random location within the number, right? So that is the reason why such type of numbers which are real numbers, which have a fractional part, they are termed as floating point numbers. And for handling such numbers, that is for converting, like if I have a string 12.5, using the input function, When I use the input function, it accepts the value and it stores that value as a string object. This is a string object. I need to convert this into a numeric object. If I use integer, the integer function will remove this 0.5. It will only accept 12. So that is why I have to use a built-in function float, which will convert this into the numeric 12.5. Understood, Rohit? Okay, so this was the program for simple interest. Now let me give you another program and please do it right now. One second.
Ma'am, one doubt.
Yes, Mohit.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, if we write ma'am, 20 plus 5, ma'am, ma'am, in that single quote. So, ma'am, will it work?
20 plus 5, like this, within single quotes.
Yes, ma'am.
This is what you are talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you think the result will be? Ye batao.
25 in string.
20 plus 5 only, because here it is not 20, it is not the numeric 20 plus 5, it is 2, 0 plus 5, 4 different characters which are introduced within single quotes, which means that this whole is a string. It is recognized as a string.
Yes,
so if you want the result of it, now suppose I am doing it this way. Let's see what result we get.
25.
Value error. See, invalid literal for integer with base 10. Okay, that is, in order to be converted into an integer, it should not contain any other character other than digit.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is what we get. But if you write it like this, int 20 plus int 5, that is fine. Why? Because this will first convert this 20 into the numeric 20, this 5 into numeric 5, then add 20 plus 5, that will give me
25. Yes, ma'am.
So you need to understand, keep a very close watch at the different type of data. That is why your data handling chapter is very, very important, students. Okay. So we are going to see that in detail when we study with data handling. So now one more program, and this time write a program to accept the same thing: principal amount, rate of interest, and time period, and calculate the compound interest. And the formula for compound interest is equals P 1 plus R divided by 100 raised to the power T. Okay, so this is the whole principal amount, and for compound interest it will be minus P, because this will help me in getting only the interest amount. See, till here is your amount, that is P 1 plus R divided by 100 raised to the power T. This helps because you are adding P to it. Okay, so that means this is what my amount. And when you subtract this, you get, when you subtract principal amount from this, you get the interest. You can also, if you just simplify this particular expression, you can even get a simplified expression for interest. So that you can do at your own end. But I have given you a general formula over here. So we will be using this formula. Now, how am I going to convert this formula in the form of Python? Can you tell me? You have learned the operators. This raised to the power operator, exponentiation operator also you have studied. That is double asterisk.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just writing here P. Now you can see that there is no sign in between P and this bracket, which in terms of mathematics is known to be multiplication. But you cannot simply write it like this in Python. You have to use the operator. Okay, that is multiplication. 1 plus, rest everything is the same, divided by 100, raised to the power T. minus p. Now let us just evaluate the operator precedence here. Okay. Let me tell you, students, highest precedence is that of exponentiation. Exponentiation has even higher priority than multiplication and division. Please remember that. So in this particular example, now what is being raised to the power of t? This whole thing is being raised to the power of t. That means this whole thing has to be calculated and which is inside bracket. तो यहाँ पे हमें ये देखना पड़ेगा कि exponentiation से भी पहले क्या solve होगा bracket. That is 1 plus r divided by 100. Now this is also an expression. अब इस expression में भी कौन सी चीज पहले execute होगी? Tell me.
Division.
Obviously, r divided by 100 will be
Division.
first.
R.
Yes, because this is division and addition. Once this is done, that is r is divided by 100, we will get some quotient. That quotient will be added to 1. Right? Now, whatever we have added to the quotient, suppose that is, let me just name that as x. Got it? Whatever I got from solving this bracket, suppose it is x. So now, if I simplify this statement, it will become x raised to the power t. Got it? Now we can solve this raised to the power, that is, now we can solve x raised to the power t. x जो हमको पहले expression execute करने से मिला, हम उसको क्या कर देंगे? We'll raise it to the power of t. And now suppose the result is y. So this y I am going to write here. Now we got, now you can see how it is being simplified. T into y minus p. Just like you solve your mathematics, right? Now what are the two operators here? Multiplication and minus. So out of these two, which one will be executed first?
Multiplication.
Obviously, multiplication. Next is what? Multiplication. And so we are going to solve this part. That is p into y. ये हम करेंगे, and suppose I got z from you. So that means I'm going to replace this part by z. Now z minus p, whatever is the result, that will be assigned to I. I hope everybody understood this operator evaluation order. This is known as order of evaluation of operators in an expression. This is very, very important, and this is actually a part of operators, that is data handling chapter, expressions part. So already I gave you an insight into what we are going to study in that chapter. Okay, this operator precedence, evaluation, order of evaluation of operators in an expression is very important to understand if you want to actually solve problems through programming, right? So we understood how we are going to solve this, right? And now let us write a program. So we go back to this. Students, I leave this as an exercise for you all. So you are going to write the program for calculation of simple compound interest on your own. So I'm sending this program to the chat window. Please write it in your self-study register. Okay, please write this in your self-study register. Can you write? You just have to replace this expression here. We have already discussed that expression. And right now also, if you are having your computer, you can easily just execute the program while we are doing this, and you can tell me. So now let us move on to the next question. Did I give you this program? I'll give you this program also. So I've given you the program, okay? So only you need to replace the simple interest part over here. Only you need to replace this part. Got it? Because you'll be already coming for your practicals tomorrow. Any doubts, I will solve here in person, right?
Ma'am, what is the timing for tomorrow's practical?
Well, I'll give you all the information in the group today, and please bring your practical book which you have got along with your textbook, right? Practical book, your textbook, and self-study register. These
Ma'am,
three things you have to
ma'am,
keep.
I have got one second-hand book from my sister. Ma'am, should I have to buy a new book also? New book?
No, no,
Or
no, 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 no. You just arrange for the practical book from somewhere.
no, ma'am, I have only I had the book, ma'am, but it is second-hand book.
That is okay. Do you have the practical book with you?
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ तो ठीक है ना, no problem. You bring that.
Okay.
Is it written? Did your sister write with pen in that book?
No, ma'am. She had written with pencil only.
So you rub that. If at
Okay,
least for
ma'am.
the first unit, you just rub it or tell somebody, tell her only to rub that and give it to you,
Okay, ma'am.
so that you can again start it afresh.
Okay, ma'am.
Right? Okay. Next question I'm giving you all, and I'm going to use something known as a comment line. You can see triple single quotes I have used here, right? This actually is used to specify a block comment. What are comments? Comments are those lines which are not read by the interpreter. Interpreter comments को execute नहीं करता है. Why comments are given in a program? For better understanding of the programmer. Okay. Programmer, suppose today you are writing, you are working on a project, and project usually contains thousands of lines of code. And at a particular time, it becomes even cumbersome and kind of very blurry to the programmer to understand what he has done at a particular point. So if you just leave out notes at certain places, programmer's notes, okay, at certain places, that at this point I'm calculating the factorial, at this point I'm calculating something else, okay. So if you just leave notes at various points within your program, it becomes understandable to the programmer itself. Okay, your program becomes more understandable and readable. So I'm using a block comment here, and I'll be specifying the program question over here. So the question is, write a program Python to accept students' marks in 5 subjects and calculate his percentage. It's a very simple thing. Everybody knows how we calculate percentage. Okay. Okay. So calculate his percentage. So you have to just enter, you have to accept marks in 5 subjects from the user, okay, pertaining to a particular student, and calculate the percentage. And we are assuming, I'm just giving a hint here, assume each subject to carry 100 marks. Assume each subject to carry 100 marks. So if it is 5 subjects, it means 5 into 100, which is equal to 500 marks, which is my grand max. Okay, this is known as grand max. And whatever marks you get in each subject, you add all of them and you will get a grand total. So what is the formula which we use? Grand total divided by grand max multiplied by 100. This is the formula which we use. Always remember, students, because we are working with a programming language, so this particular expression is going to be evaluated like this. First, grand total will be divided by grand max, and the quotient will be multiplied by 100. There are chances that you might get some unexpected results over here, okay, because this quotient will contain, it could be a float, it is always a floating point number, right? Whenever you divide the dividend with the divisor, you always get the result in floating point, that is, you get a real number. So you might be getting a lot many decimal points or decimal places after the number, right? And then you will multiply it by 100. Is it not better that firstly, ये भी गलत नहीं है, ये भी आपको कभी कभी सही results दे देगा, but the best thing is to do it this way. दैट इज फर्स्ट मल्टीप्लाई, पहले मल्टीप्लीकेशन कर लो और जो बचेगा उसको फिर डिवाइड करो, राइट? फर्स्ट यू मल्टीप्लाई एंड देन यू डिवाइड. So it will first multiply the grand total by 100, and whatever is the result, it will divide it by grand max, and this will give you the percentage. Now, because over here already your grand max is 500, that means 2 zeros can be cancelled from here, right? And this can be simplified to grand total divided by 5, because per subject marks are out of 100. Right? So this also is an alternative formula which you can use in this case. So it is totally up to you what you want to use, whether you want to use that formula or whether you want to use this formula. Right? Now, how are we going to proceed with this? First, you need marks of a student in 5 subjects. So you can just consider any 5 subjects. I usually use this method: English, Hindi, Math, Science, Social. That is SST. Simple, very simple variables, very simple identifier names. Okay, and that too, you can understand that these are relative to some subject and their marks. So here you will be reading value from the user. So I'm just giving some cues here. Read the value from user. And the same thing you will be doing here also. I'm just using this over here. This is just to give you a visual cue that you have to ask this value from the user. So you cannot write this do over here. Here you have to write the statement for each line. That is, for the first one, it will be input. Enter the marks in English, and because you are using input, you already know that it recognizes, it converts the input into string. आपको string तो करना नहीं है, because you have to calculate percentage using these 5 subject marks. So what will you do for that?
Int input.
You will use int or float, because sometimes we get the marks like 45.5 mila, 65.5 mila, or 65.75, right? So it's up to you. If suppose you are assuming that everybody gets the marks and whole numbers, you can choose to use integer. And if suppose you think that no, even if a student is getting 0.5 or 0.75, we are considering that exactly, so you can use float also. So that is a choice. It's up to you what you want to use, right? So you have to evaluate, means how it is done in real life. Is integer value sufficient, or do we need to move on to float? Always remember, float is a higher data type than integer. All integers will be a subset of float, but all float will not be subset of integers. Integer is a subset of float. That is, even if it is integer value, it will be represented as 0.0 in float. But if the result is in float and you are trying to convert it into integer, there will be loss of data, because all places after the decimal will be lost in that case, right? तो ये अपने को नहीं करना है, वैल्यू अच्छे से हमें इनपुट करना है यूजर से. Next is you will have to calculate the percentage, or the best way is, I usually use this term average, because this is the average of all the subjects as we are dividing all the marks by 5. तो यहाँ पे आप क्या यूज करोगे? The formula I have already explained that. And finally you are going to display how print the percentage the student has secured. Now see, ऐसे दिखेगा, the student has secured average percentage. Now how is this going to execute? Now let me explain one example of this. Suppose I write here average, and the average gained by a student is 65.5, right? And I write the statement print, you have secured, comma, average, comma, percentage marks in your exam.
65.5% marks in your
Yes.
exam.
And when you press enter, it will print the output in this way. That is Now see, this part, this green part is what? This is the static part. Means this part will be unchanged. This is the literal, string literal. And this part is also your string literal because it is expressed within double quotes. It means ये as it is print होगा आपके screen पे. Whatever is inside your double quotes or single quotes will be printed as it is on the screen. But then here we are using the identifier average. Average can contain any value, right? So this is a variable. So now when you have replaced this average over, you have written this average over here, it gets replaced by the actual value contained within average. So whatever is the value of average, that will be written, that will be printed over here. So in a print statement, if you have to differentiate between, means you are printing, first you are printing the static part, then average part, then dynamic part, then the static part. So you have to separate them with a comma. So this part is included within double quotes, then comma, then the variable, then again comma, then the double quotes. Is this clear? ये जो
Ma'am, doubt from this topic.
yes, please ask.
Ma'am, is there any code for? Is there an instruction that the value should be less than 100 for each subject?
No, value can be equal to 100 or less than. Now see that value, checking whether it is greater than 100 or less than that, we will be doing that only when we study selection statements, that is if else statement. तो जब हम if पढ़ेंगे वहां हम check भी कर सकते हैं कि value is falling exactly within a particular range or not. Right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
हाँ.
ma'am. Ma'am, so that the so that input can only be less than or equal to 100.
Yes, so we can put that check only when we study selection statement. So when we study if then else statement, we will again revisit this part, right?